Welcome into TPSP, guys. It's Flavorin' Fridays, brought to you by our friends over at OG's, the official sponsor of Flavoring Fridays. Head on over to ogsbrands.com to see their full lineup and find out where you can purchase. I am Anthony Totri, joined on this special holiday edition by the one, the only Christmas tree himself, Derek Montilla.
I am a noble fur.
A noble fur?
I am a noble fur.
Real quick, before we get into all the fun.
Yes.
Top three trees, go.
Top three trees?
Top three trees. From 3 to 1.
Palm?
Okay. I can live with that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is a cactus a tree?
In this town it is. I was going to say bonsai.
That might be one. That might be one. That might be one.
That's an incredible tree. And from the island of Puerto Rico, there's a tree called the flamboyant tree that has like these red flaming like looking leaves that are just beautiful.
Huh.
There you
so
go.
Is that one? That's one for you.
I mean, that's one for me.
Oh, you're one for me.
Cherry blossoms are pretty nice.
Cherry blossoms, those are pretty good.
Honorable mention.
Those are pretty damn good. We got Chris in the chat, Cogs, Elizabeth, Charles. Everybody hit that like button. This is the first show that we've hosted, like just you and me.
Yeah, I think aside from the time that you and I needed to talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we did indeed do that.
Yeah, we didn't even care if it was TPSP or what it was. It was just literally like we just want to talk about it. It could be your show, it could be my show.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And that show was a lot more, I feel like, joyful. I know it's the holiday season.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Let's be real. Christmas is here. Christmas is fastly approaching.
Yeah.
And the Suns are getting cold. The Los Angeles Dodgers are getting cold.
Oh, no, they are.
Not great for the Diamondbacks.
Not great. But see, here's the thing when it comes to what's going on with the Diamondbacks right now.
Oh, here we go. Let's get into it.
Here's what it comes down to. You can still have a nice Christmas even if you didn't get all of the presents that one of your friends who maybe comes from a wealthier family got. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but you still want it.
But my Christmas is more fulfilling. We love each other more.
Because if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks, and let's get into it. Los Angeles Dodgers, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Correct.
Obviously, it has been I don't want to say a rough offseason because it hasn't, but it's been
a great offseason for the Diamondbacks. It's just a matter of the Dodgers being able to spend literally over $1 billion on 3 players, making Major League Baseball as a whole seem unfair, right? Like that's where it is. I mean, we are in a time right now where a lot of the non-big market teams are struggling to figure out where their television revenue is going to come from going forward, right? Right now we have the collapse of Bally Sports, and we know how Diamond Sports Group and all of that impacted the Diamondbacks. Luckily for the Snakes, they made the postseason run they did, right? So they got an economic windfall from the fact that they made it as long as they did. And Ken Kendrick has always said he reinvests any money they make right back into the team. They did that this offseason, right? But it's hard to keep up with the Dodgers when it comes to spending. You can't. And in the long run, again, it's like it truly is about the components and how they come together, not about how much you spend, right? Shohei Ohtani isn't even going to pitch next year.
But Dodgers, he's still a great player.
He's an incredible player. And the saddest part about that is the fact that he's going to make the Dodgers probably more money than he's going to cost them. And that's the part that's infuriating when it comes to the rich getting richer, right? But with the Diamondbacks, we have the power of friendship, Totri. And that's just different. You can't buy friendship. You can absolutely do that. That's not.
If I gave you
Totri, those strippers aren't your friends.
Okay, man. Okay.
I'm just saying.
But look. If I gave you $1 million and I said, Derek, for this next week, you're going to be my best friend.
Am I really going to love you?
I don't need you to love me. I don't need you to love me. It's the perception of it, though.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. The perception of it.
And that could be a metaphor for the Dodgers regular season where they can always win 100 games. But without true love, without true friendship, you're not doing it in the postseason. I don't care how much those players cost.
No, that's my favorite part about this whole thing is we all know, I feel like even Dodgers fans know that they're spending all sorts of money just to lose to a Diamondbacks team or a Reds team when you get to the postseason.
I mean, really what it comes down to is the teams that have had success, and baseball is one of those sports where it's not like college football where it is the same teams there at the end all the time. Like, yeah, I mean, the Astros are there a bit, the Dodgers are there a bit, and yeah, those teams spend the money, but those two teams, for instance, have spent the money in very different ways. The Houston Astros, the Atlanta Braves, those are teams that, you know, acquired players, they drafted them, they brought them up within their system, and then they kept them there by giving them the big contracts and made sure that those guys were locked up for a number of years. The Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, these are teams that just go out there and try to add by, you know, by spending, right? And especially with the unknown here, you have no idea if this spending is going to really work out. Again, it's not how much you spend, it's how you spend it.
This is actually so perfect because for me, what this is like is, and it's ironic that I'm the one bringing it up, but it is exactly what Deion Coach Prime Sanders is doing at Colorado.
Oh, I hate that you brought that up.
It is,
right.
but it is though. It is though. In terms of transfers, they're doing it the Los Angeles Dodgers way.
Right.
We're just gonna go get as many SEC transfers, Big Ten guys that we could possibly do. But when you look at our recruiting class of high schoolers, they signed 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that is sustainable when Deion's gone, right? Like that's the same thing that the Dodgers are doing in terms of we are just going to go out there. We don't really care too much about our farm system. We're going to go get stars off of contracts, off of deals, and they're going to be Dodgers, and we're going to try and put together a winning product.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because a Pepperdine law professor in an article we were just talking about yesterday brought up that Deion Sanders paid for his contract at Colorado in the first couple of games thanks to his revenue, thanks to the revenue increases driven by his celebrity.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great comparison because that's exactly what the Dodgers are going to do here with Ohtani. Not only did Ohtani offer up, the Dodgers did not offer it up. The Ohtani offered up the deferred payment situation, which defers 97% of his contract to after his contract is over. But
which is wild.
The Dodgers still get hit, you know, on the competitive balance tax with a portion of it based on the estimated value of it. So it's like $46 million. But still, the fact of the matter is that the Dodgers are going to make more money off of the money that they have to set aside and the interest that they're going to have to make out of it because it's so big, right? It's such a huge amount of money. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that they're going to put into some account that's going to yield them an interest percentage that's going to bring them back money just on their money, right? Their money is going to make them money.
Just sitting in that account.
Just sitting in that account. But then on top of that, you have all of the increases in advertising revenue, endorsement deals, and everything that's going to bring. Literally the entire country of Japan is going to now have a newly vested interest in the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And then you pair that with the fact that now last night they signed Yamamoto.
Yeah.
And it really does take off as far as hitting up a different country and having that country now be a huge fan of literally just one of the teams in Major League Baseball. And it's a country that already loves baseball.
Yeah.
You know, baseball is renowned in Japan. It's one of the few, you know, like it's why I love Japan so much. They love baseball and they love pro wrestling, and I respect the hell out of that. But I mean, for the Diamondbacks, though, the one thing I'd like to hear is they don't give a shit. Like Hazen today was asked during this press conference about Lourdes Gurriel Jr. being added to the, you know, being brought back, that he doesn't even concern himself with what the Dodgers are doing because he can't.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right? He can't. I mean, they can go after the same players, and in this cases where they miss and the Dodgers get them, that's different. He concerns himself with like JD Martinez, who now doesn't have as much value to the Dodgers as he had, and bringing him potentially back here to Arizona. But, you know, I think Eduardo Rodriguez said it during his press conference. Like, he's used to this because he was part of the Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees rivalry.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's a lot of big names, you know, big scary names on a piece of paper. But at the end of the day, that's just some dude I have to go pitch against. And I think I'm better than him. So I don't really care what his name is or how much money he's making.
Yeah.
I think baseball, more than any sport, is a sport where that does matter because it's been proven that you can spend all the money you want in any sport and not have it equate over to like a championship. But more so in baseball, it feels like you can spend all that money and you're literally spending hundreds of $1 millions on a guy that hits the ball 3% of the time more than this guy that's making like $500,000 a year. You know what I mean?
What did King Hendricks say? He's one of 9?
He's one of 9. He's not the second coming, as our Uncle Ken said.
Last I checked, he's a DH.
He's a DH.
That was such a great quote.
It was, you know what I loved about it was almost divisive, where like, yeah, there were some people that aren't fans of this team that were like, oh, look at this guy talking his trash. But it fired Diamondbacks fans up, and he's right. It's not a lie. It's something that we've seen, especially in this sport, so many times before, that it makes it hard to be like, all right, well, signing all of those guys to all of that money is going to mean the Dodgers are instantly, a World Series contender. It does theoretically on paper, but they still have to play and have success. And paying a guy over $300 million who has never pitched a single inning in Major League Baseball is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Is it like a 12-year deal?
Crazy.
12-year
deal. Yeah.
That's insane.
It really is insane.
I was thinking about it on my way in, too. I'm like, imagine if his first pitch is just somebody goes yard on him.
Well,
just imagine.
I mean, honestly, there were some people that were bringing up his numbers from like the last few playoff games he was in and things like that. Not great. Yeah. Not great. So it's like, you really don't know what you're going to get out of any one of these guys. And you don't really know if it's going to be worth the money in the long run. I think the big thing is that's frustrating. And Charles Woodall Pike says it, baseball is broken.
Yeah.
And not only is baseball broken, but it's frustrating because it's like the Dodgers can do all of this and still, even if it doesn't work out, they'll still be fine.
Yeah.
Financially, they'll still be fine. They'll still probably have more money than most teams. So it's very difficult and very frustrating to feel like baseball is fair, is competitively balanced, as they say with their competitive balance tax, when you have this ridiculous gap in spending between those that aren't spending and those that are.
Yeah, I feel like if you are a Arizona Diamondbacks fan, it's to the point where you're just like, it is what it is, right? And that's, I think, the mentality that not just Arizona Diamondbacks players have and people within that organization, but really as it goes with all sports, the fans, media from time to time are always going to be like, oh my gosh, they got X, Y, and Z. They got this player. But when you ask the players about it, when you ask the coaches about it, yes, there's a level of respect and understanding that those guys do what they do at a high level. But you talk to any professional player, you talk to just about any Division I football or basketball player, they're going to tell you that they can do it just as good. And that's just the mentality that they have to have going through it. Right now, the Arizona Diamondbacks
totally the truth.
Are like in their specific situation. It is more so, again, the media wanting to drag in the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers in that conversation.
Oh, everybody's having a great time with this because they're literally showing, like a meme of Omni-Man and Invincible looking at the forces and being like, look at all the backup they had to call just for us. Yeah.
Just for me.
And it's true. The Diamondbacks definitely, did some things last year that prove that it really doesn't matter how old your players are. It doesn't matter how much experience they have or how much money you're spending on your team. These guys are all talented baseball players, and they got here. What's funny is when, like, a lot of these players, like Tyler Glasnow, for instance, get picked off of a team like Tampa. They were on some small market team, and they were some player that was just a nobody until they started performing at an elite level, right? So the wild thing is to just immediately assume that guys that are getting huge contracts are still going to be as motivated to play and still play at the same level that they're at. The Dodgers, though, they have an incredible team. They have a very likable team. That's what I've said, is it's hard to hate these guys because the guys they're choosing are just the sweetest boys. But I will say I'm never wearing my Shohei Ohtani Roosevelt shirt ever again. That's
totally fair. But something you're going to continue to wear are your Shady Rays sunglasses. Guys, you're probably looking at us wondering, what are these Christmas clowns doing? It's the middle of the day. They're inside. And I'll tell you what we're doing. We're sporting our Shady Rays because Shady Rays are the best sunglasses around, whether it be the holiday season, the new year, Thanksgiving, Halloween. You can always be wearing your Shady Rays. And if you want a pair of Shady Rays, you could shop their entire collection at their brand new location, Kierland Commons, a full stop shop for all things Shady Rays. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There is no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use that code PHNX for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Derek.
Let's do it?
Let's do it.
All right. What are we doing here?
Well, look, what we're doing here is we're going to be talking about Valley sports, right? We talked about the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're going to be talking about the Arizona State Sun Devils here in just a second.
I don't want to.
I know, I don't want to either, but it's what we got to do.
All right, that's
okay. And look, Damon was giving you a lot of grief earlier for not supporting Arizona State in the way that you should, which is valid, which is absolutely valid. So
I gave him grief because he didn't know where the basketball team plays.
That's
insanity, Totri.
That is pretty tough, man.
All I asked you was to clarify the name so I didn't get it wrong on the show, but now here you are.
Well, how about you do everybody a favor?
Making me look
You should do everybody a favor.
Yeah.
And you should go to Game Time, and you should go out there and you should purchase a ticket. So you can go see.
Do they got cheap tickets?
Arizona State basketball. They absolutely have cheap tickets. Look, they have the cheapest tickets.
Brother,
I'm going to be totally honest with
you.
You got some tickets for me? You got a ticket deal?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly.
I'll buy you
how
and
much
your
it is.
entire family tickets on my dime.
Oh, Damon.
Was that his Christmas gift?
Wow.
$3. You want to go watch Arizona State basketball? It is going to cost you a whole $3 to go watch. That's the women's team at DFA. If you watch the men's team when they're at home, that's $8.
Okay.
$8 to go watch ASU basketball.
I'm in.
And you know where we're getting those tickets, guys? We're getting them on Game Time. You can snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, we're talking about the Arizona State Sun Devils, which, I get the pleasure of doing on a daily basis. If you're not familiar with Arizona State basketball the same way that Derek is, I'm gonna open the door and I'm gonna just paint you a lovely picture.
Things aren't
okay.
great.
So we sit down for the show, and Derek's doing his prep, getting ready to talk about Arizona State basketball, and he's like, "Well, they almost beat San Diego State," and I said, "No,
That's wrong.
They didn't almost beat San Diego State.
Yeah.
That, sir, Mr. Tree Man, is San Diego.
Just
Now, if you watched any part of that game, aside from the fact that it looked like there was a bunch of high schoolers going against Division I players in Arizona State, they play in what looks like a high school basketball gym. Arizona State lost to San Diego by 5. Right. And mind you, this is a team mostly made up of transfers, only 3 returners from last season because of the transfer portal, because of NIL. Then you get to the point where it's like, okay, they can find a way to get back. Right. Yeah, every team has a bad loss here or there. You play TCU. At one point, you're
Adam
up 14.
Miller's back.
Adam Miller's back. First game.
Yep.
First game of the season, making a season debut after the whole TRO with the NCAA goes down. They're up 14, Derek. They're up 14. They lose by 20. They lose by 20, Derek. What's the baseball equivalent of being up 14 and losing by 20?
I think that would be up by 5 and losing by
like 5.
8.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's pretty similar, yeah.
Which would be if you're going into a post-game show after that. You were up 5 runs and you lose by 8.
We have a swear jar on our show for occasions like that, typically.
This is my regular reality.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And then you're like, oh my goodness. You know what? You talk yourself into it. TCU, not a bad team. TCU potentially a tournament team at some point, right? So then you go, you play Northwestern, and you get absolutely pile drive. They lost by 19 in that game.
That's a reference I get.
19. This team isn't good, Derek.
Oh, I can see that for sure.
They're not good at all.
The San Diego Toreros?
Yep.
Bullfighters?
Yep.
It's not a bad name. I just didn't know they existed.
I love their colors. They got a real great color scheme going on there.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, anytime you can get light blue and like white.
Jim Harbaugh coached at USD.
Yeah, future Los Angeles Chargers head coach.
Just a fun fact.
What are we doing with the NIL deals?
With these players?
Yeah, like
how
can we make these kids some money?
It's tough because when it comes to
Burrito Express,
when it comes to Arizona State and in the landscape of NIL, a lot of that money from the Sun Angel Collective goes toward the football team because the football team is the moneymaker. It's the revenue here. And with some of these players on the basketball team, yes, they're making money. You're not making the money that you're going to make at Arizona. You're not making the money that you're going to make at Duke or Kentucky or any of those places. It's just the fan base, case in point, that doesn't know where they fucking play.
I mean, I knew it's a sponsor.
Yeah.
I knew.
Like that's just where it is right now. There is not enough of a diehard fan base with Arizona State that in their defense that feel like contributing significant amounts of money is going to make a direct impact to the team. Now, a lot of that has to do with Ray Anderson being the athletic director for such a long time.
What a disaster.
And you saw the donations to Sun Angel Collective go up once he left, but still the product on the court is not there. The offense doesn't look like it's actually an offense.
Maybe I have a just something as an outsider here that
okay, you tell me what you got.
I don't like the name Sun Angel Collective.
Okay, what would you prefer?
I mean, it would Sun Devil. Like, what
Sun
do we
Devil
do? Why do we
Collective?
have to change it?
Why is it?
Why
the
are we
opposite of
now
what-
trying to be the opposite of what we really are?
the Ice Angels?
Yeah.
Like, what
Ice
are we
Angels,
doing here?
Yeah, we're Sun Devils, right? I mean, I'd make it sound like an awesome like action movie. Sun Devils, hell to pay. You know?
What about like Satan's Collective? That would go crazy.
Satan's Collective?
Yeah.
You're going to have people signing
Let's
up
go.
Hell
for
yeah.
Satan's Collective?
Think about all the donations you'd get.
Yeah.
That's a story. That's a national media
Sun
story.
Devils, when hell freezes over the account.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think
No.
they're going
I
to
don't
name
know.
it Satan. I really don't think that's
Well.
where. I don't think that's how you get more money.
And I think that's where you guys probably screwed up.
Yeah.
Is
You
by
don't think-
not naming it.
You don't
Something
Satan's
after Sun
Collective.
Devil.
You don't think
Well,
that if
I
you made
mean-
it Satan's Collective that like some Satan worshippers would
Satan's
just happen
Collective.
upon it and just maybe toss some money
I
your
would
way?
just like to point out.
Not even ASU fans?
I would like to point out. Christmas is in 3 days.
Sure.
This motherfucker is dressed like a Christmas tree,
A noble fur.
talking about let's change the name from Sun Angel to Satan.
That was his idea, first of all.
You're
And
not. I don't hear you.
It was absolutely my idea.
I don't think.
Don't
I don't
steal,
think. It's
I don't. I want my
Don't
credit.
steal.
I
Don't
refuse-
steal
I refuse
my
to take-
idea.
I
We're sitting
refuse
here like
to
it's a
take
good
credit.
idea.
Yeah.
No, it's not a good idea.
Sun Devils, hell bent on being good. The
I want my
Collective.
name on it.
Yeah.
The Collective. You
Yeah.
want your name on it?
Yeah,
Damon Satan Collective?
correct.
Or Damon Presents Satan's Collective.
Yeah.
That works.
Hell in a Cell.
Hell in the Cell, no.
Come on.
No,
All
I'm sorry,
I'm
man.
just trying to figure something
Well,
out
look,
here.
that's the state of Arizona State basketball as it stands right now. Not great, right?
Elizabeth's right. Satan and Santa have the
It's a
same
great
letters.
point.
Yeah, it's a great point.
It's a great point.
Yeah. It's just one letter off.
You guys just why
Satan's helpers?
People love it in the
Satan's
chat.
helpers? Come on.
Satan's helpers. That's
Satan's
fire.
helpers. That goes crazy.
Now we're really
That's what we're
cooking.
calling it now. We're trying to get some money. Like, I get it.
It's like Totri doesn't even care about
I mean,
the
it's
ASU
real-
athletic department.
It's like he's trying not to actually address the true problem, which is bringing more money. It feels like college sports has really just gone to shit with the transfer portal and the money and everything. Has it not? Has it not become a mess?
I'll tell you what. Yesterday,
Are you just
UCLA's
done? He's done.
like one of their best defensive players transferred to USC.
Yeah.
The system is broken.
What's broken about that? What's broken about a talented college athlete going and getting more money across the street from a university that can
going
pay
to
him?
his rival school, that makes me sick.
Is the kid from Los Angeles? Did he grow up hating the Trojans? Probably not.
You're perfectly fine with that.
I'm absolutely fine with that.
ASU
I am
has
not
say
fine with
ASU has a
Jalen Conyers, best tight end that Arizona State has had in a decade, leaves to go to Texas Tech, where he's from. He's from that area. He's
so different
grown. How is that different? How is that different?
because ASU and Texas Tech is not
So
equivalent.
your
to
issue
USC
with it
and
is
UCLA.
it's just a rivalry.
correct.
That it's just
if he went
that
to,
rivalry.
If he went to Texas, I'd cool. It's going to your rival that makes me
What
sick.
about that irritates you?
I feel like the spirit of it was to
They
give.
do it in pro sports
Well,
all the
hold on.
time.
I feel like the spirit of it was to give athletes an opportunity to jump from a smaller program to a bigger program, but that's not necessarily
wasn't
what we're
the spirit of
seeing.
it.
No, not
No,
at
the
all?
spirit of it was let's go and make super teams. The spirit of it is now we can play with the money that we've been for
Then that-
decades.
That seems like a bad reason to do it.
For
then.
decades
That seems
now.
like a bad
For
reason to do it.
decades now.
Yeah.
People have been coaches, players. They've all been getting paid, right? Under the table, whether you want to say it or not. It's been happening.
Sure.
And now it's just like,
Not at
okay.
Arizona, bro.
Yeah, not Arizona. You could argue that Arizona, out of all the entire West Coast, has paid the most players.
Oregon.
I remember one time reading about how some some football star was like literally just given a job at a car dealership, and they just didn't require him to work. So like, some investigative journalist basically went in to see if he was actually like there working as a car salesman, and he would show up for like an hour a week and get paid like a huge salary. And that's the underhanded stuff that we used to have to do in order to get a kid to come play in your town, right? So you're right. Like the money, the stuff has always been there. It was just a matter of not getting caught and to doing it in a way where you were, trying to.
Yeah, but the spirit of NIL, again, it depends who you ask. Like if you're talking like a realistic perspective,
sure,
it is, yes, players are getting paid, but the idea of let's pay players has gone and become such a wild west to where it really is like what we were just talking about with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
right. There is
yeah.
certain universities, certain alumni fan bases just have more money to go throw around, and some of them care a lot about it. There was Chris Cartman, who covers ASU on the regular, was like, look, if John Rahm and James Harden decided to donate, I don't know, what, they could donate $5 million each, and they could change the landscape of Arizona State athletics for the next decade. But they won't do it, right? But there are some universities that have that loyal fan base.
Yeah, sure.
That are willing to go, you know what? I make $100 million. Here's $2.5 million. Here's $3 million.
Yeah.
Because they care. Right. And that's just where you're at with the state of NIL now, where there's not a whole lot of rules with it. Now the transfer portal is completely different. Yes, they go kind of hand in hand. But you've seen kind of with the rules how things change.
And it was never really fair, like you said. I mean, just based on the amenities that you could get playing for some schools versus playing for other schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to knock San Diego, but like you said, it's like playing in a high school gym versus some schools have bigger arenas than the professional sports team, right? So like, yeah, it can be a vastly different experience, and it's never necessarily fair. But, again, now it just feels like, as somebody that doesn't pay as close of attention as I used to collegiate sports, it feels like guys are transferring constantly. It feels like that's all I see on my, on my timeline on Twitter. And it just, as a fan, gives me less reason to have interest in those sports, in those teams.
And I the only argument that I would make to that right now is I would argue that should make you more encouraged to go watch those sports. Because if you take Arizona State basketball, for example, or you take Arizona State football, for example, yes, players transfer out. Specifically, Arizona State basketball, 3 returners, right? And only 1 was a starter. One guy had a lot of potential, entered the portal, came back. Another guy the fans don't really like, right? The fact that you are able to go out and get 8, 9 new guys that, again, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. You could get a team that wins 20-something games, ends up in the NCAA tournament, or you could get what you got so far this season, a team that doesn't really look like they have a whole lot of synergy. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get, but it gives you reason to go cheer for guys that you would never cheer for before, right? Last year for Arizona State, having a guy like Des Cambridge, who had no personal tie to the Arizona and Arizona State rivalry, hit a half-court buzzer beater that will live on in Arizona State history forever.
Right.
That's something that you wouldn't get without the state of current college athletics. So that, again, would be my current argument for, I guess, devil's advocate for supporting the transfer portal.
Come on, that's even better than Sun Angel Collective.
Would be crazy good for a name for NIL.
There's one thing that Arizona State does have over a lot of these other universities.
Great names.
In terms of financial, NIL collective, and that's Burrito Express. Okay,
that's true.
Burrito Express is the pitching point. It's the selling point that Arizona State coaches need to make for these athletes. If you've never been to Burrito Express and you live in the Valley, I don't know what you're doing, because they do have the best burritos in the state of Arizona, and it is not even close. Not to mention they've got great customer service. They've got great deals.
Great salsa.
Check out Burrito Express. They have locations all over the Valley. Grab a burrito and follow Burrito Express on Twitter at BurritoEXP. Now, Derek, this is what's going to happen, okay? I'm going to sip this drink. I'm going to sip this drink, and you're going to tell everybody about flavoring Fridays.
Oh, yeah. We are flavoring Fridays around here. That's why we're dressed like this. It's all about flavoring Fridays with our friends from OG's Brands. Unwrap the merry, bright, and downright delicious gift of OG's gummies this holiday season. And let me tell you, family in town, going to go hang out with people that might stress you out. In general, gift giving might stress you out. Make sure to relieve some of that stress with our friends from OG's Brands. Treat yourself or maybe somebody you love with a stocking stuffer from OG's, which is the ultimate holiday hack for peace and mouth-watering cheer. With a variety of bold flavors, OG's gummies are slam dunk for your taste buds. So do not miss out on the chance to stop by your favorite dispensary, pick some up. To learn more about OG's mouth-watering options and upcoming deals, head on over to ogsbrands.com.
What is?
Oh, hey, did someone say flavoring Fridays? Woo! Oh,
You know, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
I saw that coming the entire
What
way.
in the goddamn
I saw that coming the entire way. Did you spill? Did you spill?
Yeah, oh yeah, there
Did
was
you
still
spill?
drink left in that. Oh, Jacob's gonna be so mad at you.
he's not here. He can't do it.
Oh my god!
I would
I'm
just
gonna
like to tell everybody right now,
Yeah.
I am not cleaning that
Yeah,
up.
there's just
That
Monster
is-
Energy drink
Max,
on.
you're going to
our-
clean that up.
on our mic cords.
I refuse. I
That's
refuse
how a
to clean that up.
supervillain was created. I'm fairly sure, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, the dude from Spider-Man.
Yeah,
That's Jamie Foxx's
Electro.
villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totri, I have to ask you a question real quick
I'm
regarding
terrified.
the USC UCLA situation.
Oh, we're
that I
still on
brought
this
up.
one?
We're
Yeah,
done
I
with that.
just need a quick hypothetical.
Yeah, I got a hypothetical for you. Are you going to
Jalen-
tell me if Jalen Conyers transfers to the Arizona Wildcats?
Yeah, because our NIL is better than yours. So,
Yeah.
so then how are you feeling about that? You're going on every show opening with how much you hate Arizona.
No, I don't. Yeah, I absolutely hate Arizona. Do I hate Jalen Conyers for going and getting an absolute bag that could change his life? No.
It's more
Am I
about-
salty? Am I salty?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm salty.
It's more about the
And-
system
and I'm
being
not
broken
saying-
to the point where you can just go from a rival to your other rival and just for in the name of money.
I'm not saying that the fans don't have a reason to be upset. And that I'm saying you can't criticize a kid specifically when it comes to college sports being so vastly different than pros, right? Because the pros, they're professional athletes. Some of these kids, the wide majority of these football players at the college level will never see the NFL. They will never see that kind of money. So if you can go out there and get your bag, whether it be at a rival or not, it is what it is.
I mean, like I would be fine with him even going to Oregon, for example, but it just bothers me going from your traditional rival.
Put yourself in those shoes. Let's pretend that you play football at
I have
Arizona.
too much class for that.
Well, I don't
really
think you
do.
I don't think you do.
I really
I don't
do.
think you do. Because let's say you are a
I have too much respect for
let's
myself.
say you're a mid-level player. Let's say you're a mid-level defensive end. You're playing on third downs only every now and then. Let's say you're making $5K. That's it for to be an Arizona Wildcat. Okay. Let's say in some imaginary reality where Arizona State has a bag to give you. You're not Arizona State. Kenny calls you. He says, "Hey, man." And now, mind you, again, coaches can't use NIL the way that I'm actually describing it.
We know they do though.
If they said, "Hey, we really think that you can be a 3-down defensive end for us. We're willing to give you
All 5'9" and 160 pounds.
It's an alternate reality. We're giving you $85,000 this year to come play down the street for us." You're saying no because why? Because why? You like red and blue more than you like maroon and gold?
I'm leveraging that against other programs and trying to go somewhere else.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. But what if in this alternate reality, nobody else is willing to pay you? Just Arizona State. They're the highest bidder.
It would be tough choices, man, but I would really have to sit down and think about it.
They're giving you $80,000 more. You are never going to see the NFL.
No.
You are never going to see the NFL. You're making $80,000
you
more.
can't-
The reason that this hypothetical sucks is because UCLA had the best defense in the conference, and this guy could go anywhere in the country, and he's choosing to go to USC.
Yeah, because there's also something about
He
getting
could go
the
to Alabama.
opportunity to play
he could
those
go to
teams.
Ohio State. He could
That's
go to
fine.
LSU.
There's also that opportunity that, again, players won't tell you. Off the record, they'll tell you, hey, that's kind of fun. I would love to get to go play some of these guys that I practiced with and played with every single day.
That fictitious scenario you gave, which had so many wrong turns because you said the coach can't do that and this and that, you can't say that it's not going to impact you making the NFL, because I feel like that is the decision, right? Like if you think that you suck and you're not going to reach a higher level, then yeah, maybe you'll settle for getting the bag as much as you can into college level. But isn't there something to be said about the exposure you're going to get from playing for an SEC school or one of the biggest programs than
Yeah, but
playing
for this fictitious
ASU?
scenario, I mean, this part's not even fictitious. They're going 15 minutes down the street to play at UCLA to USC.
Okay, yeah, but
And USC does have money. USC does absolutely have money. There was players at Arizona State.
we have so much more terrible stuff to talk about.
You're right, we do.
Than
We
this.
do. Okay, let's
You
talk
can
about the
save
Phoenix
this
Suns.
shit for your ASU
You're right. Let's
show.
talk about the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that's terrible too.
Yeah, so
terrible. I would defend
Are
the
we
but
ready?
The Suns can't seem to defend.
Are we
so why
ready to
should
put
I
Bradley
defend the
Beal in an
Suns?
Arizona State basketball jersey? Are we ready to do that?
God. I just don't understand. I think, as far as my world is concerned in the Arizona Diamondbacks, I can't help but feel like that the Suns went down like the dark side, right? Like they did the thing that you would expect teams to do that historically don't necessarily leads to success, where you get close and you start trying to spend the money on the big players. You trade away some of your young guys that got you to where you were at. And now here you are in a position where your team isn't nearly as excited, isn't nearly as connected, because we know a connected team is a fucking dangerous team.
There we go.
And of course, you're not having the success that you had, and that's what we're seeing right now with the Suns. Obviously, the Suns, I don't think that there's a huge reason to panic, but the last
So you're not panicking?
No, because I think the big three for the Suns have played a total of 6.5 minutes on court this season together. I know it's a little bit longer than that, but not by much. But I will say that that's a big factor. The Suns are changing, and they're trying to have these pieces come together. And I still think that they have very good players. It sucks when, again, your team was close, and now you kind of move in a direction where you don't have those same pieces that got you to where you got, and you tried to add better players. But again, does necessarily bringing in guys that average higher points and such always equate over to more success on a team? Not necessarily. And I mean, especially with, I just miss Mikal Bridges. Can I just come out and say it?
No, I think everybody misses Mikal.
I just miss him every single day of my life.
He'll be here in 2026. He's off that deal.
Oh, God.
Or is it this offseason?
I don't know.
They'll find a way to pay him.
I need him back. But yeah, I mean,
Mikal, KD, and Book, you're taking that, right? You're taking that over Bradley Beal?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, this
you don't know.
Well, hold on.
Without question.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, yes, I am saying that. Yes, I am. Yes, I'm not. It's not a question of that. But like I said, going back to the Diamondbacks, it's hard not to think of what the Diamondbacks have done and the guys that, got them as far as they did in the postseason, and how tempting it would be to maybe make a big trade for a big pitcher that would potentially involve some of those pieces. And that's where you start literally changing the dynamic of your team that was successful. And I'm just saying, no matter how big of a star the guy is that you're bringing in regards to a trade like that or free agency move where you're, maybe opting to go with one guy and letting some other players walk.
Yeah.
It doesn't equate to success. What we've seen out of these teams a lot of times is that the young core that you put together that is successful can be successful. And I mean, maybe you add a piece or two, like what they did when they added Chris Paul and Jay Crowder, and that helps them, get along a little bit further. But I just felt like, this Suns team right now is kind of that, that superstar team that doesn't always necessarily mean that a team is going to be, incredible.
Yeah.
Injuries suck right now.
Injuries do suck. I mean, again, it's specifically that injury to Bradley Beal is the one that you don't know what this team can be quite yet.
Yeah, we were like right there. It's like we finally had them.
That's the thing. That's the thing about the NBA, right? Is it's such a long season, and there's zero question that this will be a playoff team. You just got to hope that they get together and that they're able to stay healthy when it comes time for them to play 7-game series after 7-game series, and that there is some level of synergy. But that's what it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be the guy, again, like, so it's probably not going to be a team that's in the top 3 in the West, but they don't need to be. No,
as long as they can just get to the playoffs and be healthy once they get to that point. The Suns do have some guys that are playing good, basketball right now.
They have Kevin Durant and they've got Devin Booker. That's those are two.
How dare you besmirch Drew Eubanks' name?
Stop it! You stop it right now. Those are two of, I would say, those are two top 10 basketball players right now. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, right? And they're interchangeable wherever you kind of want to put them. But like you could talk about that. And the Suns lost the other night when KD scored 40 and Book scored 26.
Yep.
There's got to be somebody else. Somebody else has to step up because teams understand that. Teams understand that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are the guys. And now they're going to go get theirs every single night. And yes, sometimes that's going to be enough. But the teams that find ways to win championships, it takes more than your top 2 stars coming together to actually go win a chip.
Yep.
That's what it takes. In not just basketball, but in football, in hockey, in all the sports. You got to have a legit team to win one of these team sports. Otherwise, when it comes time to go get a chip, you are not going to be able to do it.
At least we won the trade, the DeAndre Ayton trade. I feel like we won that.
Do you feel like we won that?
Mm-hmm. Nurk's averaging more points per game. I think more.
Well, unfortunately, the Suns lost to the Trailblazers the other night.
That is true.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure DA outdid Nurk.
He did. He had 16 whole points. But the collective that we got back in return also.
The Satan Collective?
Yeah, it's catching on. It's catching on.
It's not.
Can we talk about the good team here in the Valley? The team that deserves our praise and our love and discussion on the show?
We can, but first we're going to tell everybody about Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Because, look, you're talking about the Arizona Coyotes, and I know they're doing it well, but nobody does it better than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. They offer an authentic and immersive experience that you're not going to find anywhere else. They've got an unprecedented level of entertainment, excitement, and look, I've been saying it on the ASU show. If you don't have plans for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I can't imagine a better place to spend the holiday season than at Gila River Resorts.
That is a good plan.
Casinos.
Get a hotel room, stay there.
That's a hell of a time, man.
Yeah, that's a hell of a time. Staycations are underrated, especially when you can go to a place like Gila River Resorts and Casinos, and they literally, some of them are far enough away from my house that they absolutely could be a vacation. And on top of that, once you're there, you do feel like you are away from it all.
It really is.
Do you want
an
to go?
Experience.
Me and you?
When?
To Gila?
Let's New Year's Eve?
Yeah, bro.
I'm
Just
down.
me and you.
I'm down. I'm absolutely down.
Head
to Gila River Resorts and Casinos.
He keeps refusing to include me.
And let them show you what next level is all about.
I bought this man a Christmas present. That's absurd. Like,
you didn't get me a Christmas present.
I know I didn't. That's why Damon should be treating me
crazy.
nicer. That's why your thing earlier about buying friendship just doesn't work.
You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
You know, it is fire, by the way, is some burros, which they just opened up one up by me at I-17 and Joe Max. They are having.
You live all the way out there?
Yeah, I told you, Southampton.
That's
I'm not
crazy,
joking when I say
dude.
Southampton, but it's amazing because now I got some burros out by me, so I don't really need much else. I go for their $5 breakfast burritos.
$5
and coffee. It's a $5 combo. Breakfast burrito and coffee, and you can put horchata in your coffee. And let me tell you, once you've put horchata in your iced coffee, you'll never want to not put horchata in your iced coffee.
Fair.
But you can try their popular Fiesta platter right now, loaded with mouth-watering red and green chili, beef mini chimneys, homemade taquitos, chips, fresh guac, and their famous hot sauce. Don't do cooking this weekend. Go get your cooking done for you from Somburros. Let Somburros cater all your holiday fiestas, big or small. Order online or find one near you by visiting somburros.com. Seasons eatings with Somburros.
I'm hungry now.
I'm starving. We did not do a good job.
No, I think
taking care of
today
ourselves.
I've only had a cup of coffee and an energy drink. So
yeah, correct.
My system
I had half an energy drink.
Yeah. Derek had half an energy drink.
The other
the
half?
rest of it.
Yeah, Max threw a beach ball at it.
Max, yeah.
Well, now you got a countdown that you're
I do have a countdown. You made me drink a countdown in order for you to host the show. It was a weird
trade.
Yeah, it was a weird trade, but I was with it.
Well, see, look, when this show is over, my job will be done, but you right over there, you have to suffer the consequences of your actions.
That is true. But you also have to host ASU, which that's
fine.
Just
You're right. That's
miserable.
punishment in and
I
of
get
itself.
to go talk about the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
But right now, we both get to talk about the Arizona Coyotes, which should be very uplifting to both of us. They are absolute
4 in a row.
4 in a row. Clayton Keller's been playing great. They're getting some great goaltending. And here is the most important stat given to me by our very own Leah Merrill. She said that almost 84.6% of NHL teams that are in a playoff spot on Christmas Eve end up making the playoffs. And the Coyotes right now, they are, as you know, they're the reigning Stanley Cup champions. That's the way it worked because they beat at one point the last 5 in a row.
Yeah, so that makes them cup.
That's the way my rules work. When you beat the last 5 Cup champions in a row, you are now the reigning Stanley Cup champion.
Okay, so this is the question that I'll ask you as it relates to the Arizona Coyotes. Then,
yeah,
what would an Arizona Coyotes playoff berth mean for the state, and what would it mean, do you think, for their ability to stay in the Valley?
I mean, it would just be huge. I think the one exciting part about it, and I hate to be equating everything back to the Diamondbacks, is how young they are and how much there still is to build around. This is a team that is causing some noise that shouldn't be. It's a team that really is kind of in a playing for each other kind of mode. I've honestly been surprised that you don't hear about Mullet Arena selling out more. I thought that was going to be a constant when it came to this team, just based on the experience that it provides. It's received a lot of flack, and people like to hate on the Coyotes for sharing an arena with the Sun Devils, but it's a gorgeous arena. And to be honest, what Charles Woodall Pike just said is the next words out of my mouth. Playoffs at the Mullet would be absolutely crazy.
Nuts, dude.
They would be wild. And I mean, again, I think, they're obviously, the Coyotes are in a weird spot where it does feel like, of all of our Valley teams, they are the one that the vultures are circling around. So I think it's huge. I think it's huge because we want this team to stay here. We want to root for these young players. We want to root for Logan Cooley for a long time. There's a lot of things that are exciting about this team. And I mean, unfortunately, here in the Valley, winning is really what brings the fans in. And that's what the Coyotes are going to need to do in order to generate that fan interest in this team right now at this point.
No, you're absolutely right.
Once they open, if they get a new spot and they can move, to that corridor in the north, the 101 Valley up there and stuff like that, I think there'll be a renewed, interest in it. But people are already complaining about that being just as far away from their, season ticket holders in the East Valley as Glendale was. So
you're absolutely right.
This whole thing has just kind of been a mess for this team. And I just hope that, the success right now they can maintain it, and that it can lead to positive things happening for this franchise here in the Valley.
Yeah, and like you said, equating it to the Arizona Diamondbacks, right? Like, there's something about having young talent, is that level of we might be able to do this, because you haven't seen these guys fail yet.
Yeah,
people are so used to seeing the Arizona Diamondbacks have passed, or the Arizona Coyotes in the past, where they have got those guys, and you've seen them lose those big moments. You've seen them be unable to get over the hump, but you don't know what this team can necessarily do yet.
It's like you're hoping for those guys to be a different person than you've seen them in other similar situations, and they're just not. And when it's a young player, not only is it the fact that we still don't know, it's the most exciting part about following a young player's career, is to see if they make it and what kind of star they could become and what kind of level of superstardoms they could reach, right? I think, there is the idea that when a young player is bad, that they can still get better. But then if you have guys on your team that you have had for years, or have had a long career in the sport, that you bring in, and you're expecting to see something different out of them than what you've seen in the past, that's where you're really kind of being, I guess, delusional about it, right? But this is different. And I think the one thing with both of these teams is the fact that it's our players. We kick things off talking about the Dodgers deal. And I mean, I'm sure as a Dodgers fan, you're excited about all the signings. It just doesn't feel the same as when it's like Alec Thomas, in the Diamondback system coming up, and then
because it's the Dodgers versus the Diamondbacks,
right? Or same thing with Logan Cooley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is a kid that came. He became a star on this team very quickly, and it's exciting because he's our guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, is building a team, especially in a town like this, comprised of our guys that we drafted and that can, become a star here instead of doing that somewhere else, is very exciting.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that, my friend, is exactly why the transfer portal is the way it is, and that's why it's okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's okay, guys. But that is going to do it for this edition of TPSP. Leave a like, leave a 5-star review on your way out. You can follow me on social at Anthony_Totri. You can follow this guy right here at Cap_Caveman. Damon, where can everybody follow you, man?
What?
Damon Dog.
That's why he's not.
It's Damon Dog. Look,
look, it's Damon Dog. It's at DAWG. He's the people's producers, and I, at least, am Damon's dog. Bark, bark.
I appreciate you, Derek. Maybe you know what, man? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe we should go to Gila. Maybe Totri's the one that shouldn't have been invited.
I'm just saying.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Peace.
We all silly like like the mayor.